Monty Williams, man. Is Monty Williams on the clock? That's the question, man. That's what everybody's been asking. Is he on the clock? And the Pistons are willing to move on from him, but he will have an opportunity to have a conversation or two with Mr. Langdon and, of course, Troy Weaver as well. So we got some decisions to make. You see some of the head coaches starting to get moved on from, you've seen Cleveland just moved on from their head coach. You got Monty being a coach that you may want to bring in to take the franchise to the next level. Could you see the Pistons, biting the bullet, even though Tom Gores has mentioned that he has no problem swallowing that contract? So can you see them moving forward and saying, hey, man, listen, it's just not the right time to have a coach like him here. Let's go and get someone else. Deuce, What are we doing?
So everybody knows that I have not been the biggest fan of Tom Gores. These moves, if they check out and everything plays out, I will have gained some respect for him. So for those who don't know, Monty Williams signed a 6-year, $78 million contract. This was year one. So if they'd be willing to move off a contract after 1 year, they have to eat that 5 years. So I got to give Tom Gores credit if this is true, because it feels to me like Tom may now be finally hearing the fan base and understanding that a winning product is what we need, it's what we expect, it's what we want. We're tired of waiting. And like you mentioned, you said he was happy with the standing of the organization. He started community service, and he basically was not focused. He was focusing on everything but basketball, just from his comments. And so, from him to go from that to now being willing to eat $60 million in order to bring in a new coach, whom he'll also have to pay, that tells me that either somebody's in his ear, or he himself just now realizes that major changes now need to happen. Community service is not enough for the fan base. Even if that means eating $60 million, if he's willing to do that, that tells me a lot. I know he's a multi-billionaire, I get it. $60 million is still $60 million. So that just gives me confidence that this may be a good hire as well, because Tom will have to trust that new coach that Troy or Trajan is bringing in, right? You have to trust that this new coach is the coach of the future for this team. Otherwise, he wouldn't be willing to cut Monty in the $60 million to go with it.
Yeah, and like I said, most important is the top realizing that, hey, maybe this just wasn't a good hire. Maybe it was just the wrong timing.
Right.
That's huge for us. It's something that we've been talking about definitely over this year. So what does this mean for Troy Weaver, though? And, obviously he'll have a sit down with Mr. Shaka himself. Yeah, Shaka is his middle name. That is his middle name. I'm going to be messing with him a little bit about that. I love the name Shaka because Shaka was a great leader. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And hopefully he can be a great leader for our organization. But Troy Weaver, this is definitely something interesting here. A lot of people say, hey, man, Troy Weaver's probably fired. No, it's not that simple. It's not that simple. If I'm banking on it, I'm banking that Troy Weaver sticks around for a little bit longer. Tell me why. I would say, I don't know if you have a list of guys on your roster, with experience that has, even though Troy hasn't had the best last 5 years, he does have some positives to his resume. So I don't think you're ready to just walk in and just get rid of your GM that quickly. I think you give him an opportunity to, see what he can do, man. I mean, obviously the conversations are going to be very important between them two, but like I said, this whole thing is not on Troy. We know that, right? So I'm probably sure there's going to be some information in between where he says, hey, man, I'm going to give this guy an opportunity and see what we can do together and build on that. That's just what I think personally. I don't think he's just going to walk in the door and say, everybody's fired. That's what, from a fan's perspective, that's what you would think. But
right.
No, I don't think that's what's going to happen.
I don't either. I mean, the report stated it was Monty Williams' job who was in jeopardy. He didn't mention Troy Weaver. They easily could have. It would have made sense. If that was what they were going to do, it would have made sense to do that. If they're bringing in a new president, it would make sense to just clean house, start from the top down. But they didn't do that. And Troy Weaver's contract is much, much smaller than Monty Williams' contract. So it wouldn't have been a lot when you're already considering you're eating $60 million. You know what I mean? So it seemed like it would have been an easy move to make if they wanted to make it, and they didn't.
Right.
So that tells me, as of right now, his job is safer than Monty Williams' job. It's just a hunch, but it kind of tells me that, Trajan and Troy are kind of aligned in their vision for the franchise. It gives me confidence that Tom is going to allow Trajan to do his job and Troy to do his job, because I don't think Arntellum will put his friend, who's Trajan Langdon, in a position to fail.
Yeah. The first thing that I want to see, put your impression on this team. Like I said, we don't have, starting from the top down, we don't have any type of direction or any type of identity whatsoever. Put your impressions on this thing. He's a young president, man, 49 years old. Like I said, we talked about the experience. He's still, trying to build a resume, but put your impression on this team. That's what the first thing I want to see him do is go in there and, make the moves that he feels necessary to move this thing forward, man. Because like I said, our clock is ticking, man. We have, obviously we have Cade to think about too. So we need to get something rolling. We need to change just change what's been going on lately. Bringing in a younger guy, a lot of people, including myself, probably, wanted to go towards somebody with a little bit more experience, a little bit older, but I have no problem with this move at all. So, bring in a younger guy, put some fire up under some of these guys in the front office, man, and get things moving.
Right. No, I'm with you, Bear. I'm with you. You mentioned Cade, our other young star players. They're watching.
Yeah.
They're watching what's happening, right? The same way we're watching and talking about it, they're very aware. They're waiting to see. They know this is an important period too, for their careers and for the franchise as a whole, as far as their future contracts and things of that nature. So it's very important that we don't miss. We don't swing and miss with these hires. And the first thing that I want to see from Frazier is the presser. I want to see that presser. I want to hear what his vision is. Like, what's your vision, bro? Do you have a game plan? Do you have goals? Do you have checkpoints? What's your vision? Is there any real synergy between Tom Gores and Trajan and Troy? Is there real synergy now? What I'm watching for, because Troy's going to be there, likely. Troy's body language. Yeah. I'm watching Troy's body language. If he looks anything like how he did for Monty's initial presser, then nothing is going to change. He probably also doesn't have the same vision as Troy does, right? And we always see Troy slump like that whenever he's unhappy about something that's going on within the organization. It's almost like he wants you to know but can't tell you. So that's what I'm looking for. I want to see the presser. I want to see what he's talking about. And I want to see the body language of Troy Weaver, because that's always very telling. Yeah.
You beat me to it, man. The presser is very, very important. Probably something that we'll see maybe next week sometime. They expect the Pistons to make this official sometime next week. So body language is everything. What I'm saying? Yes, shout out Shaka. And he's spelled with an S, but it's still Shaka though. Listen, man, that's gonna tell us everything. It told us about Monty, that hiring. So that's big time. I'm gonna be definitely all eyes on that. Mm-hmm. The Pistons can really right this ship real fast if they want to.
They really can.
In this Eastern Conference, some of these teams are getting ready to, hit the eject button.
Yeah.
In the Eastern Conference already, some of these teams are about to hit the eject button even more. You see, even you still had the Tobias Harris rumors and stuff out there. The Pistons they chose the worst time to be bad, man. This is an opportunity. They have to get this thing flipped quick if they want to have an opportunity to start getting into some conference finals and some finals. Right now, you need to hit this button, get to the playoffs first of all, and start making some noise, man. While this conference is like it is, man, for these teams to get ahead of you, and it's gonna be tough.
Because we're at a point now where the changing of the guard is happening. So when those stars in the East, as they continue to get older, right, and they kind of decline, there's a small window when the conference is up for grabs. You need to be in that conversation when it's up for grabs. But it starts now, because it's not going to happen right away. You need to build that foundation now. So you're ready when that time comes. Absolutely.
Go and ask some real veterans on this team. You don't want to be these teams that's just stuck.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, you can turn some things around real quick with the money that the Pistons have.
Yep.
Real quick, you got draft capital and you have money. Those are the
Right.
best two things to switch your franchise around really fast.
And one more thing I really hope to see from Trajan Langdon: communication, please.
Please, man.
Please communicate. I'm not saying every day, I'm not saying every week, but just so we know what's going on. So we're not just
In the dark.
Right? I know we're not on the payroll. I know fans aren't on the payroll. They're not owed this specifically. But if you care about your team, I would hope that they feel that we are owed this as fans, because that says something about how they feel about their fans. So hopefully we get that communication. Hopefully we get that, once it's official, we get that press conference and we get that transparency. And there isn't any questions like, okay, so how y'all feel about this? So hopefully we get the communication piece to where we can at least have an idea of what we're doing. If we get that, I'll be satisfied with that for sure.
He's walking into a pretty good situation as president because you can make some changes like that.
You can.
So if you decide to stick with Troy Weaver or not, obviously, if y'all two can bring your heads together, y'all can flip it real fast.
We're gonna learn something about this new president quickly.
Yeah, quickly.
As far as his ability, and not even just his ability, but just his willingness to make splashes. We don't know the structure. We don't know who's going to be making what moves between him and Troy Weaver. But if we see that there's a different type of action behind the movement, if we see there's, we're not just standing pat and making little deals for cap space here in the future, we're actually making moves with intent. I think that's a sign that, Trajan Langdon is not afraid to make moves, and that perhaps Troy Weaver was handicapped before from making moves.
Yeah.
So just look for that. Look for how the front office moves now. Look to see if they're willing to make those splashes. Look to see if there's a different type of intent with this front office. Because that'll tell you a lot about what was going on previously. This is why it's hard for me to look at stuff like this. Because it sounds like only emotion without any real basis for saying stuff like that. So, look, I don't care either way. I just want us to be good. Whoever you want to blame it, I don't care. Who cares? We've been doing it for how long now, and what's happened? We've gotten worse, not better. It does nothing. At this point, let's just see what's up. Let's see if there's a change. If we continue to see the same type of action or lack thereof going forward, then yeah, I'm with you. Because now you know for a fact that this is something that has more to do than with just the president. Right? Then you can look at it and say that. But let's just see what happens first. If we see a change and the team starts to improve, then I don't want to hear nobody saying, well, this is all because of the president either. Don't be doing that. Don't be trying to blame Troy when things don't go well. And then when things do go well, now it's the players are maturing. Or, Tom Gore has finally opened up his pocketbook and fired the coach and got the right. I don't know. You can blame whoever you blame now. Great. Praise those same people later on when things are going better.
All I got to say is that Pistons fans was ready to kiss Troy Weaver's feet a couple of years ago. He was doing everything right. He was cooking every year. Every year. That's all you seen. Let Troy cook. But it was a point where we was like, Brad Holmes should be like Troy, man.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I'm saying? And when everything fails, here y'all come, acting like some good old Roman fans, bro. Ready to kill a gladiator.
Right.
Y'all make me sick, man.
It's cool though, man. It's cool. It's cool because like I said, just keep that same energy if and when things change. And if they don't change, then keep the same energy too.
Right.
Because it'll be valid. Just keep it either way.
My dad, he used to collect older cars. He said you can only restore something that's great. There's been greatness in Detroit. The Detroit Pistons can restore.